Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. And we have people joining in from different parts of India and different parts of the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody here. I'm Asma from Mailmodo, and we are running this event in collaboration with Hello Meets. A huge shout out to Haikirat and Sabiha from the Hello Meets team for making this happen. As you know, today's topic is on the art of writing the perfect B2B email newsletter. And on that topic, we have Gaurav Arora here with us, who's a senior manager demand generation from Webengage. To quickly introduce Gaurav, Gaurav comes with extensive experience in the field. He's covered different aspects of marketing, from content marketing, copywriting, B2B, B2C, email marketing, lead generation, and account-based marketing as well, of course, on top of demand generation as a vertical. So Gaurav has done extensive marketing campaigns and also made sure that it achieves its target. He also has a course on account-based marketing and shares extensively his insights on Twitter. So glad to have you with us today, Gaurav, and thank you so much for taking the time.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Asma. I actually prepared one slider for my introduction, but you have already given so much about me, so I don't think I need that slide anymore. But anyways, we are waiting for some more folks, or shall I get started?
I think we can get started. This event is recorded. So yeah, I guess because we have a lot of content to cover. Let's go.
Sure, I have actually kept it very, very crisp and to the point that these guys can take away. So yeah, can you please allow me to share my screen?
Yes. I think you can share your screen.
Sure. No, I cannot.
Okay, let me just check again. Okay, now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is already done. Thank you so much, Asma. So I'll get straight to the point. I have prepared this cute little slide deck for everyone here, and as the agenda was around writing the perfect B2B email newsletter. So I want to give you guys a quick context of what happened with us and what prompted us to.
150 registration हमको on average चाहिए, ठीक है? अपने अभी 129.
Requesting everybody to mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that, Gaurav.
No worries. So yeah, I was telling everyone about what prompted us to, get started with ramping up our newsletter activity and everything around email as a channel. So quick context for everyone, what happened with us at Webengage in 2019. I joined Webengage in 2019 as a content marketer. And during the same year, we were hit by something which every email marketer, hates, and our domain reputation went down. Then we had to set up a new domain altogether. Then we spent more than a month warming up that domain, sending out emails just to get that domain up to the mark and so on. So that was one disaster nightmare that happened with us when I joined the company, because that was also the time when I was tasked with setting up our email marketing campaigns. So that was one event that happened. Then again, something similar happened in 2020 when, we ended up creating a wrong segment of users, and that resulted in getting a warning from AWS, which is our email service provider. So I have attached a screenshot of AWS sending us a long list of warnings. Why did we do that? How did it happen? And so on. So to add more color here, we created a wrong segment of users during this time. And what ended up happening was a lot of those users in that segment were not relevant. Their email IDs were not relevant anymore. They had left the company, etc., etc. And that's where we experienced a hard bounce rate of more than 50%. Ideally, it should be less than 5%, but in our case, it was more than 50%, and hence we received this warning from AWS. So post these two events happened, incidents happened, we thought that, we really need to gear up our email marketing efforts if we want to run it sustainably. So, and I and my team get on to work, and we, took up certain starting points that we need to put in place. One of which was we had to create our email marketing SOPs and checklists that we circulated across the board. That was one important thing that we did. And as we move forward in this session, I'll share with you guys what are the SOPs that we created so that you can replicate it at your company easily. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to pause me in between. I'll be happy to answer. So that was the first thing that we did. And then the second step that we took was we started monitoring our domain reputation every 14 days. If I'm not sure if you guys are aware about Google Postmaster as a domain reputation monitoring tool. uh, you can monitor your domain reputation, whichever domain you are using to send out your marketing emails, sales emails, or whatever else. You can monitor your domain reputation in terms of low band, bad band, moderate band, and high band. So your domain reputation always has to be at high, right? So we started doing this monitoring domain reputation after every 14 days, making sure that our emails are landing in our users' inbox and everything is working fine and so on. The third thing that we did was we implemented role-based access control. We realized that, not each and everyone in our teams across domains need access to our email marketing campaigns and domains, because obviously the chain of command differs and not everybody is responsible for sending out the campaign. Some people are responsible only for writing the campaign content. Some people are only responsible for publishing the campaign and so on. So that's where we implemented role-based access control. Whoever the person is responsible for doing their task, only they will get the access to publish the campaign and nobody else. So that's where we restricted kind of access to all our email campaigns. And the fourth thing that we implemented, which is still running actively every week, is we started cleaning our email list week on week. Earlier we used to do it once in a while. There was no set frequency, and that's where we were lagging. And that's where those hits and misses were happening. We were having hard bounces, soft bounces, engagement was not up to the mark, and so on. That's where we took the step of cleaning the list every week. So after having those two nightmares in 2019 and 2020, these were the four immediate steps that we took. Moving on, as you guys have checked out in the agenda, what is the right framework that we follow here at Webengage? And to give you guys context, we send out a Webengage newsletter called the Retention Weekly on every Thursday or Friday. And each and every week, we have sort of built this repeatable winning process that we replicate each and every week. And it has helped us immensely in generating word of mouth and getting more subscribers and so on. I'll share those numbers with you as we move forward in this session. But coming back to what is the right framework that we have sort of iterated upon over these years, more than 3 years now that we have been running our email marketing campaigns. So first, what we do is we pick a theme. By theme, I mean financial literacy can be a theme. Startups becoming unicorns can be a theme. Building an enduring business that outlaws their founders can be one theme, and so on. So since we operate in the user engagement and retention marketing space, all of these themes kind of make sense to us. And then once we pick a theme, okay, that this theme works well for us, we then sort of connect our resources, which is the second step that we do. We connect our ebooks, we connect our case studies, webinars, or whatever new resources that we have published in the previous week. We connect it with the theme that we have picked up, and we contextualize our message. uh, I'll while moving forward, I'll share the exact anatomy of the newsletter that we send out so that you guys can, easily understand, and it's just not theory. So that will help you understand better. Now, the third step that we do is we carry forward the theme. We usually send out 2 to 3 resources, that the sweet spot that we have figured out that works the best for us, giving attention to each and every resource that we're promoting in our newsletter every week. And we carry forward the theme. And once we do that, we end our email with a small nugget. Usually, the email goes out from my name, and I like to share something personal, what has been happening in my life, what I have been reading, or what's my routine like, what I have been up to these days, and so on. So that's what we call a nugget. And then we finally personify the email. There is an emoji that I got designed for myself, and I attach that an emoji at the last of the email along with my designation at Webengage, and hyperlink it to my LinkedIn profile if anyone wants to reach out to me. That's how we end our newsletter. So this is the 5-step process that we follow. We first pick a theme, then we connect our resources to contextualize the opening body of our newsletter. Then we carry forward the theme so that the transitions feel smooth. Then we end our email content with a nugget, and then finally we personify the email by using my an emoji. And then obviously one important thing that I have learned over these years while writing newsletter copies is always use conversational tone in your email content. That just really helps build credibility with your audience, and that's just a better way of writing your copies, if nothing more, right? So that's the framework that you can easily replicate for your brand, assuming you have a B2B context. In any case, right, even if you have a B2C context, it will just make your email copies better. Moving forward, so yes, I know nothing might be visible on this screen. That's where I'll jump onto the actual email that we send out. This is just for you guys to, get a sense of the breakdown of this 5-step framework that we have developed as to, how these pieces are fitting together and how they are coming across as a full-blown email newsletter copy. So when I share this slide deck with you, you'll get to see a download of the anatomy of this email newsletter. And again, this is another example. So not spending much time on this. Yeah, sorry, anyone had a question? Okay, no worries. So yeah, I was talking about the right framework that we follow, right? So this is the subject line that we sent out in one of the newsletters that we dispatched. What happens at 5:30 a.m. daily, and this is again sort of a very intriguing, curiosity arousing subject line. And to perfect our subject lines, we use OmniSend's subject line tester. So whenever we uh, narrow down on any subject line, we test it out in OmniSend's subject line tester, and whatever score we get, we sort of then judge the quality of our subject line, and that has sort of delivered us the right kind of open rates. So this is one trick that we use. I mean, not many email marketers, in my opinion, are leveraging subject line testers, but you definitely should. Moving on to the actual copy of the newsletter. So the image that you see on your screen, this is an actual, writing in my diary that I noted down at the beginning of this year. I made these pointers that, I want to do these things in 2022. So that's when I figured that, this is a good starting point for our Webengage newsletter. I attached this image, and then I sort of started the newsletter saying that I have been learning about personal finance, and I have been able to continue my learning streak for these many months, and so on. So the whole point here was to start a topic, start a theme, as we saw in the framework, right? And then sort of build upon that until we are ready to transition into the actual resources that we are promoting in the newsletter. So if you read this email copy closely, if you read these notes closely, this contains one pointer which talks about continue with financial literacy. At the same time, this also talks about learning product management. So learning becomes one theme, uh, continuing learning financial literacy and making myself financially literate is another theme, right? So I sort of picked up a theme somewhere in between, wherein I talked about personal finance, and then I'm talking about a habit of learning every day. Now, what I'm doing after this is I'm smoothly transitioning into what I want to talk about, right? And I definitely want to promote a recent success story that we published at that time. So the success story revolves around finance related brand, which is Merolagini, based out of Nepal. So that's where you pick your theme, you get to transition it into your actual resource, you build up some more content on top of it, and then you actually plug in your real resource, right? So that's how we start our newsletter, and then we continue that theme, that learning is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And then we continue building, contextualizing on top of it, and again plug in our second resource, which is another success story of one of our customers named Mero School, again an edtech brand. Previously it was a fintech brand, now we have an edtech brand, right? So I want you guys to understand this very, very closely as to how we started with something very uh, something which does not align with what we have to offer. But again, whatever you pick, there is always a chance to come back to the actual point that you want to convey in your newsletter, and that's what we have done here. We picked this image up from my library, then we contextualized it, then we plugged in our first resource, then we plugged in our second resource, which is around an edtech brand, again a success story, and then we are ending it with a nugget, right? Something personal, right? And this is for real. I go out for cycling every day, 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and that's what I wanted to share with my audience, to make that personal connect. So I attached an image of my bicycle at the end, and that's how we end the newsletter. And finally, we personify it. So that's how you see this framework working out in real life. Asma, I'm getting a timer notification saying that we have only 9 minutes left.
That's actually odd. Just let me check this, Gaurav. Please continue.
Sure. So yeah, I was saying that's how we have put this framework into life. And if you guys have any question, I'm happy to take. Otherwise, I'll continue, and you guys can drop off your questions in the chat box as well. I'll take those up in the last. So that's the framework that we have been following for quite some time now, and it has resulted in a good number of subscribers. And uh, just to show you guys, this is the kind of responses we have been getting on email, across channels. People have been talking about the Webengage newsletter on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and so on. So this definitely works, and this we have figured out after a long period of 2 years that this is something seriously working. So definitely we would want to continue with this. So that's the framework that we follow for the Webengage newsletter. Now, moving on, there is another one important pointer when it comes to sending out your newsletter. You want to make sure that your content is not overly promotional, and at the same time you can send out promotional content, but you should not come out as that a brand which only sends out promotional content and there is nothing valuable inside it, right? If that happens, then people will figure over a period of time they'll not open up your emails, and hence your email engagement will go down. So the usual resources that we publish on a regular basis are press releases, success stories. I gave you a couple of examples of these fintech and edtech success stories that we just saw in the newsletter, right? So success stories are there. Then funding news, we recently raised funds. Then we keep on publishing ebooks, and then obviously being a B2B SaaS product company, we have regularly product updates coming out. So what's really promotional and what's valuable, right? So think about it in terms of the so what principle. If you are sending out a press release, and if you really put yourself in your reader's shoes, if they ask so what, will you be able to answer it in a logical manner? If the answer is yes, then for sure you should send out that content. If the answer is no, then definitely you need to relook at your content piece. So some content pieces are inherently valuable, which are in especially in B2B SaaS context. For example, success stories, ebooks, or any other benchmark reports or any other white papers which are detailed enough and which can help your readers either level up their knowledge or replicate the success story of some other brand in their industry and gain more out of your product, right? So some of these resources are inherently valuable, and I don't think there is any second thought about promoting these resources and sending these out in your email newsletter. But some resources, right, like press releases, funding news, these are not really valuable for your audience. I mean, obviously these are great milestones and great news to share with everyone around the globe, but definitely not something that adds value to your readers mind or their knowledge or their day-to-day life, right? You can have a soft plugin wherein you just have a liner CTA saying that we have recently raised funds, or this is the new PR across this geo or whatever, right? That can act as a soft plug, but that should not be your core resource per se, right? Your core resource should always be something valuable, like a success story, like an ebook, or anything valuable that you have recently published. Can be a blog article as well, right? Which provides in-depth knowledge to your readers. So that's how you find your balance between sending out promotional content and making sure that your readers are always getting value out of your newsletter. And that's something we have learned the hard way. Earlier we only used to send out promotional content which was not really adding value to our readers lives. That's when we pivoted to sending out more success stories, more ebooks, and in some cases product updates as well, if it's a major release, and that can help our readers or customers make the most out of our product. In those cases, updates are also valuable, right? Now I'll see the chat box once, and you guys have a lot of questions. Kunal is asking, can you share more demo of nuggets for B2B email campaign? Sure, sure, Kunal, I'll do that. I'll do that. What if the goal of the newsletter is to share actionable tips about the industry? How do you make it more personal? Yeah, I mean, in those cases, you can again follow the same approach. You can start with something which is very, very personal or what has been happening in your personal life. I would always suggest you to personify your email and send it out from a single name, like the Webengage newsletter goes out as Gaurav from Webengage and not just Webengage. So that's the starting point of making your content personal. And when you get to your email body, it's always advisable to start your email with something insightful or something personal, like the example that I showed, right? I took a picture of what I had noted down in my diary and then attached it in my newsletter and then sent it out. So it's all about transitions actually. So no matter what point you take to start out your content, you can always come to your actionable tips about the industry or whatever you want to share, and then you can sort of complete the loop like I did with by sharing the picture of my bicycle at the end that we saw, right? So that's anyways doable, even if you are sharing actionable tips about the industry. Hope that's useful. Kunal is asking how to track email engagement. Kunal, so previously we used to track, I mean, we use our own product, which is Webengage, to track email open rates, click rates, conversions, hard bounces, soft bounces, unsubscribes, etc., etc., and whatever other email metrics that you want to track. There is actually no dearth of email metrics that you can track. But over a period of time, I'm lucky to say that we have got mature enough to go thinking beyond open rates and click rates. I mean, we do care about them, but we do not obsess over them. What we obsess over is the screenshots that I shared with you, right? Where our audience is appreciating our email content. That's what we obsess over. And unfortunately, no email product dashboard will show you those metrics, how much your audience is loving your email content. But one metric that definitely justifies your email content is CTOR, click through open rate. That is a measure of how good your content is. So that's something that we keep a close track on. And we have gone past just open rates and click rates, measuring them in absolute numbers, measuring them in silos. That's not something that we obsess over. Hope that's useful. Can you please share some demo of product updates, template updates? Sure, I can share these templates with you offline. I don't have it handy right now, but I do have them in my repository, so I'll be able to share. You can drop me a message about this on LinkedIn, and I'll be able to share. Nidesh is asking interesting signature image. Is there a tool for that? Nidesh, there is a tool called, if I can recall it, I think it's Bitmoji. The app is available on your, let me check. Yeah, it's Bitmoji. It's available on the Google Play Store. So once you download the application, you get to design your emoji. Kunal is asking one more thing. Can you please show us all the tools that you use? Kunal, we use two tools for email marketing. For cleaning our list, we use Kensio, and for dispatching our emails, we use our own product, which is the Webengage dashboard. So yeah, quite lean, and that works for us. Okay, so we have completed all the questions. Now resuming the slide deck. Yeah, the third important pointer that we had in our agenda today was using SOPs, right? Because that's really, really important when you want to build a repeatable, winnable process for sending out your email newsletters. So this is the first step that we do, right? We add the copy, we first finalize the resources. Obviously, that is a no-brainer. After finalizing the resources, we add the copy to a Google Doc, and to the same Google Doc, we add 3 to 4 subject line options, and then we go to Omnisend to test which subject line is working better in terms of score. Whichever has the highest score, that we pick and move forward with it. Then sometimes we take a call on adding a preview text or not. Sometimes we do add it. Most of the times we don't, but we have still kept it anyways in our SOP so that each and every point gets covered. Then we finalize our copy in a Google Doc. Then I review the copy. Then we make the final edits. Then we send out the creatives based on the content that we have written. It's mostly repurposing the existing creatives, but in some cases we do create new creatives for our email newsletter because that's a time worth investing in it. And once our creatives are ready, we upload them on Amazon S3 and generate the URL to be embedded in our HTML code. That's what we do after this step. Then moving on, we HTMLize the complete email as I showed you the template, right? That's an HTML email. We HTMLize it, put it in a template, fix the formatting, make sure that everything is looking perfectly fine. There are no rough edges and so on. Then we clean our email list to remove all the junk IDs. And as I mentioned earlier, right, we do this activity every week before sending out the email newsletter to our audience. We then create an email campaign on the Webengage dashboard, and that has a separate checklist that, we check the segment that we are sending out the campaign to. We check our ESP, we check the sender name, we check the sender email ID, and so on. And then we add the HTML version onto the Webengage dashboard. Once we are through with all these steps, we send out a test campaign to an internal test audience that we have created on the Webengage dashboard. That audience obviously contains internal employees, a set of 5-6 people who check the email rendering on their devices. When I say devices, I mean both the devices, desktop and mobile. They check whether the email is looking perfectly fine, if the font size is correct, if the story flow is correct, all those aspects that matter the most, right? If the subject line is not getting truncated, if it's reading fine, there are no extra spaces, anything around formatting and so on, right? They check these aspects on both the devices, both desktop and mobile. Once we are through with the testing phase, That's when we publish the campaign. And once we publish the campaign, we wait for a 1 week period. And after 1 week, we analyze how that campaign performed. So starting from when there was nothing in a Google Doc, we start writing the campaign copy. We, HTMLize the campaign, we design the creatives, and in the final, we publish the campaign. And after a week of publishing the campaign, we measure the performance. And when I say measure, again, we don't obsess over open rates and click rates. CTOR is the metric we care about. And more than that, those responses that we get on LinkedIn, Twitter, email, saying that, we loved your email, this was a really nice copy. That's what we obsess over. So this was the SOPs part that I covered. Now moving on, how do we continuously increase and maintain our existing email engagement, right? So there are two interesting features available on the Webengage dashboard. One is sending the email campaign intelligently. What it does is that, the subscriber base that we have, and we recently crossed 100K subscribers for our newsletter. So Webengage dashboard automatically understands using machine learning algorithms that which user is more likely to open up our email at what time. So if I am sending out an email to Asma, and if Asma has a history of opening up my emails on Thursday mornings, let's say at 10 a.m., right? So my message will get delivered to Asma on Thursdays at 10 a.m. And similar patterns can be recognized for different users that we have in our segment. So what it does is it sends out the email campaign to people only when they are most likely to open and when they are most likely to click. That increases our email engagement substantially. So I can give you a rough number. After implementing this feature on our email campaigns, we have increased our email engagement anywhere between 30 to 40%. So that's the kind of impact it has. The second feature that we religiously deploy is called throttling. And what it does is it throttles our messages across a period of time. So for example, if we have a list of 1 lakh email subscribers and we are dispatching the emails to all this complete audience, the emails will not get delivered to them in an instant, right? That's because even if you deliver such volume of emails in an instant, your email service providers doubt you for spamming your users. So that's also where throttling comes into the picture, wherein it staggers your email delivery over a period of time. That means you can set throttling limits on a channel level, as you can see on your screen, which is 1,000 messages per minute. So the system will make sure only 1,000 emails are getting delivered per minute. That means in 1 hour, the system will only deliver 60,000 emails and not more than that. So in the next hour, another 60,000, right? So in 2 hours, we'll be able to reach our complete audience and not just in a minute or so. So that's what throttling does. And these are the two important critical features that we continuously use to increase our email engagement and to maintain the existing engagement that we get. Now, again, one more important step that I would like to share with you guys here is I talked about cleaning our email list every week, right? So we use Kensio to, figure out the junk email IDs that we have in our database. And once we figure out that, okay, these are the 20 junk IDs, 30, 40, 50, whatever that number is, these are the set of junk IDs that we need to remove from our database. That's where we make use of the Webengage dashboard, wherein we upload these junk IDs in a CSV file and mark them unreachable on email. So Webengage dashboard has this functionality wherein whatever users are not reachable on email as a channel, your campaign will not get delivered to those users. So we mark their email opt-in as false, and we make sure that we are cleaning our email list every week by following this mechanism. So yeah, that was all about today's agenda, and I hope I have covered each and everything. Now, open to questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gaurav. If anybody has questions, you can just unmute yourself and shoot your questions.
Hi Gaurav, this is Nitish.
Hi Nidesh,
Uh,
where are you? I can't see you.
Yep, I think.
Sorry.
hey, my video is muted.
Okay.
Sorry for that.
Okay, no
Apologies for
worries.
that.
No
Hey,
worries.
I didn't get the last point where you mentioned, about the cleaning part. Could you please
Hmm.
explain once again?
Sure. So I mentioned, right, we use two tools to run our email campaigns. We dispatch our email campaigns via the Webengage dashboard. And for cleaning our email list, we use Kensio, right? Kensio has an email validator tool that we use. So the database that we have of more than 100K email subscribers, we upload that database on Kensio. Kensio runs its checks, right? And it gives you a set of junk email IDs. Once we get that set of junk email IDs, we upload them on the Webengate dashboard and instruct the system to mark them unreachable on email. So each and every user that is there present on the Webengage dashboard has a reachability check on each and every channel that we have, right? Webengage is a multi-channel marketing platform on email, SMS, WhatsApp, mobile push, web push. So we make sure these set of users are unreachable on email. We just mark them unreachable. So whenever we are sending out the campaign to this whole audience, the system automatically understands that it has to send out the campaign only to the reachable audience and not attempted to the unreachable audience. So that automatically cleans our email list. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
No worries.
We have a few questions in the chat.
Yeah, Devashish is asking, is it okay to change the theme of your newsletter on a regular basis? Not really, Devashish, because once your audience gets used to seeing some set of color, some format, they get used to it. And that's where you need to figure out what's really the theme that you want to carry forward for the next 2 years or 3 years, maybe. Not really a good idea to keep changing it on a regular basis. The next question is, can you type those two tools names over here would be helpful? Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, Ashwin has already shared Kensio and Webengage. We use our own product to dispatch emails.
So is Webengage an ESP, Gaurav?
No, Nidesh, we partner with different ESPs. We just provide you our platform to, sort of launch your email campaigns.
Okay.
Hey Gaurav.
Hey, Devashish, what's up?
Yeah, so I have been wondering, like you have been sending out a lot of newsletters, right? So how do you prioritize content and design? Like what do you take up first, and how do you analyze things going ahead?
So by taking up first, you mean the
The
resource
content
which
part, the content part of the newsletter, or the design of the newsletter? Like how do you
No,
define these two?
content always. So there were times, when our design team does not have much bandwidth to actually spend on designing these creatives. That's when it's okay for us to send out the newsletters without any creatives in it. But that was long back. We don't do it anymore. But the point I'm trying to make here is it's always content first, because we are optimizing for audience love and not open rates and click rates. So it has to be content at any day.
Oh,
Does that answer your question?
yeah, that really does. And if I may continue, like
Sure.
so who were your majority consumers, the mobile users or your desktop users?
No, actually, a lot of our email engagement comes from desktop. So, I mean, we do make a point that we optimize it for mobile devices as well, because as we scale, I just mentioned, right? We have now more than 100K email subscribers. So that number is also substantial. So we make sure that we optimize our content formatting, the layout, the template, everything for both devices, desktop and mobile.
Have you guys seen any trend kind of thing? Like you have been sending over a long period of time, right? So, do you guys see any trend basing on the device consumption kind of thing?
Yeah, it's more heavier towards the desktop because our audience is all, director and above level people within marketing, product management, and IT to some extent.
Mhm.
So the fair assumption that we can make is, since we are sending out these newsletters on weekdays, either on a Thursday or a Friday, these people are usually active on their desktops, right? Working in their offices for their companies and not so much on mobile. So that's where most of the consumption comes from desktop.
Of course, that's great. Like that was a learning for me today. And by the way, great session. Thank you.
Thank you so much for attending it. Yeah, I think we have a few more questions. Kunal is asking, our business is B2B wholesaler kind of Indian Alibaba. So email marketing is because their user base is little and professional kind of layman. So will it be really helpful? Yeah, I mean, Kunal, you can always tone down your language, right? The only point of sending out your email campaigns is to stay in touch with your audience and make sure that all your audience is constantly hearing about you in some form or the other, obviously adding value to their daily lives, right? Not sending out some random content. So if you think your audience is a little unprofessional, you can always tone down your content and send out whatever works. Obviously it will take you a few iterations to land in your sweet spot. It took us 2 years to get there, but I hope you reach there quickly. In a newsletter, how many? Yeah, someone is asking something. Please go on.
Yeah, hi Gaurav, Sabahat here.
Hi,
So
Sabad, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All good?
Okay. So basically, my question was, for example, this is newsletter that's been running from around a year now, and the
Hmm.
tone for it is set. Subscribers already expect it into a certain way.
Hmm.
Subscribers are not increasing like they should be, and the open, like the engagement rates are not dipping down; they are constant.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
now at this point, we would like to maybe change the tone of it and
Hmm.
add something new and exciting. How do you think we should make the transition? How do we ease our subscribers into saying, into showing actually like we've changed and this is something new that we are trying to do?
But before you want to make a transition, are you really sure it's your content that's a problem, or that's the improvement area you are looking at? Do you have any?
So
Wait.
how do we find that out? Like that is where I'm.
Hmm.
Basically, that is my question. How do we? What do you think? Should we be sending feedback emails and
No,
like?
actually, I mean, again, sending feedback emails would not really help you solve the purpose. I would actually urge you to, get connected with your users on a very casual level. Maybe
Okay.
if you're sending out this email to your customers,
Hmm.
and if you have I believe you guys have a customer success team, right?
Right. Right.
You can just nudge them to bring this up in their conversations with your customers somewhere, right?
Okay.
How
Hmm.
are they liking your emails, or what improvements can be done, what are they expecting, and so on.
Okay.
And even if you get to collect 10 data points around that piece, you can
Right.
very well incorporate those in your content, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Most of
makes
the
sense.
times what happens is transitions usually are not that smooth, and
Hmm.
that's where you then sort of land up in that spot wherein you can't go back and you can't
Exactly.
continue. So that's where it's very important to first make a firm stance that this is really a problem and that's what we need to improve. But first,
Okay.
before you do that, you first need to understand that this is the problem. You need to have that certain stance on it.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you so much, Gaurav.
No worries, all the best. And please ping me on LinkedIn if you have any more questions. I'll be available
Yeah.
there.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Sal is asking, what kind of lead magnets can be used? What type of content pieces have you observed getting great response by your audience? Sally, success stories always work great in B2B SaaS. That's a no-brainer. Followed by your insightful ebooks. Obviously, not really just some random ebook, an ebook which contains in-depth knowledge about a particular topic, or a sort of a benchmarking ebook or a white paper that really works. And then followed by your webinars on a very, very sharp topic. So these are some of the lead magnets that work really well in my experience. Obviously, nothing beats a success story.
Right, Gaurav. Thank you so much for answering my question. It was a great session. I really gathered a lot of ideas and information. I just had one more question, Gaurav. So in a newsletter, how many visuals is too many visuals? Because I've seen some brands sending no visuals at all, right? All they write is just it reads like a big letter to me.
Correct.
So I'm confused whether or not should I go heavy on visuals.
So in my experience, anything over and above 3 is too much.
Okay.
3 is still on the higher side. That's where you saw that we included only 2 visuals in our. I mean, if you consider the actual resource visuals, third was just a picture of my bicycle.
All right.
But anywhere over and above 3 is too much.
Okay. And is there also the risk of email size getting heavy? Because if you're
Not
if you're
really. So there is a workaround for that. Whenever you are getting your creatives designed, before you upload them somewhere or generate that URL to include in your HTML, you can always compress their size on tiny PNG.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that really solves the purpose. Yeah.
All right. And one last thing, Gaurav, I saw your signature in your emailer, and I want something like that for myself. I want to ask you, what tool did you use to make
Bitmoji. There is an app available on Google Play Store called Bitmoji.
Bitmoji. Got it.
Yeah, you can design your avatar using that app, and then you can ask your design team to resize your avatar if it's not in the correct size to fit it into your email newsletter, and then you can send it out.
All right. Got it, Gaurav. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
No worries. All the best. Anyone else? Any more questions? Happy to take.
Gaurav, would it be possible to actually show the anatomy slide once again? Not the one with the extended version, but the initial version.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Yeah, this is the one.
Hey, not this one. The initial one where you gave the approach, right?
The framework you are talking about?
The framework. Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah. Thanks, Gaurav. Yeah. And amazing session, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for attending. All the best.
Awesome. So I guess that's a wrap on the Q&A session. Gaurav, let's move to the live feedback on the email campaigns. If anybody has any email campaigns that you'd like to kind of, show and get Gaurav's feedback on suggestions on, please feel free to do it now. We have about 5 minutes or so here.
Sure.
All right. I guess people would connect with you one-on-one, Gaurav, later on LinkedIn. Please feel free to share your LinkedIn link on the chat as well, so that people can reach out one-on-one. Thank you so much on behalf of the Mailmodo team. This has really been very insightful, covering all the elements, the structure, and everything one needs for a email newsletter. So similar to what we've discussed today, we have a email marketing masterclass on Mailmodo itself that people can take up to kind of learn all the email marketing fundamentals. We're just going to drop the link in the chat. So it covers everything from copy to design, with an exclusive chapter on AMP emails. And we've created a coupon code specifically for this event that you can use to unlock the course for free. Mailmodo, as many of you might be aware, helps marketers to get 3x email conversions, and it's a complete email marketing tool. So we always help marketers get higher email conversions, either from the tool or from the resources that we put out. On that note, I will pass on the mic to Sahiba to just share a little more about what Hello Meets does. Sahiba, over to you.
Hi Asma, hi Gaurav.
Hey Saiba, nice to see you.
Yeah. Hi to all of you here. So guys, I'm Saiba. I'm the founder of Hello Meets, and basically this event was in collaboration between Hello Meets and Mailmondo. So I just came here to introduce myself. So I'm the founder of Hello Meets, and what Hello Meets does is we help professionals like you learn over live meetups and through our video subscription. And what you get there out of these live meetups and video subscription is basically, number one, you get latest and real life case studies from the top Indian startups like Swiggy, Razorpay, Dunzo. And also you get, the tactics and the ideas that they have used so that you can save your time. Thirdly, you get frameworks and templates that they have used, and, again, you can reuse them. And lastly, you learn the hard lessons that they have learned, what you can now avoid to save your time and resources at your startup. So that's about it, guys. And hope you like this session. We'll try and do more sessions with Milmondo in future. And in the meanwhile, I'll just drop the link of our video subscription and website so that you guys can have a look. And thanks a lot, Asma, Zishan, and Gaurav for being here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Saiba. Thank you so much, Team Mailmondo.
Yeah, I'll just drop the link for your community, Asma. Yeah.
Okay.
Asma, you're on mute.
Yes, I was talking to myself back there. Thank you so much, Sahiba. Thank you, Gaurav. Again, I think everybody would agree that each slide of the session was very, very useful to everybody. We would, of course, be sharing the recording of the session in the email. You'd receive that probably today or max by tomorrow. So wishing everybody a lovely evening and a very happy weekend ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.
Right.
Happy Diwali to everybody. Just 10 days ago. Enjoy.
Yes, Sahiba clearly is starting off Diwali celebrations quite early.
Yeah, I can see, all around, like so many people have started taking breaks already.
Great, lovely. Thank you so much, everyone.